This week on Berkshire News Now, we visit the Adams Agricultural Fair to see the highlight of the town's summer entertainment. Then, we speak with local historian Paul Marino and City Council candidate Roger Eurbin about the upkeep of Blackinton Cemetery now that the city has taken control. That's coming up next on BNN.
Hello and welcome to the August 15th episode of Berkshire News Now. I'm Samantha Niskern. Tomorrow the 16th marks the 21st annual Downtown Celebration in North Adams. From 5:30 until 9, the city will close Main, Eagle, Holden, and part of Ashland Street for pedestrian-only traffic as shops and vendors take over. There will be games, giveaways, magicians, live music, and more. The rain date for the Downtown Celebration is Thursday, August 17th. Speaking of celebrations, the Adams Agricultural Fair took place a couple of weeks ago from the 4th to the 6th. BNN took to the fair to capture some of the fun.
The Adams Agricultural Fair has been the main attraction of the town's summer for the past 43 years, and this summer was no different. From August 4th to the 6th, Adams turned the space on Old Columbia Road into a world of amusement for hundreds of families. The event was made possible by some 50 to 70 volunteers, some of which work year-round in planning the fair. Volunteers cared for the animals, sold water during the demolition derby, baked goods, ran games, and more. Filled with musical performances by a variety of artists, food from various trucks, and dozens of games and rides, the fair proved to be the center of entertainment for the weekend. Merchants and vendors had tents featuring their often handmade products, which only drew in an even larger crowd. Of all the events, games, and entertainment that the fair provided, one thing seemed to reign supreme. One volunteer talked about his favorite event, the Demolition Derby, and he certainly was not alone. Hundreds of people filled the stands and lined the fences to watch the destruction take place. Before the derby started, U.S. Navy, Air Force, police, firefighters, and other service members and first responders were thanked for their work. Once the playing of the national anthem concluded, the demolition began. By the end of the weekend, fairgoers and their families had the chance to play games, win prizes, listen to live music, shop, look at animals, and spend some quality time in the summer sun.
The summer festivities might be winding down and coming to an end, but if you're looking for just one more community day in the sun, North Adams Motorama will be August 27th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Registration opens at 7:30 that morning, but you can pre-register online. There will also be a drive-in movie night on Main Street the night before in affiliation with the event. If you can't attend the drive-in movie night on the 26th, Mass Mocha is presenting The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming at the North Adams Airport on August 25th at 8 p.m. There will be food, ice cream, and beer sold on site. For more information or to buy tickets, you can visit the link below. This past Saturday, MCLA authorities sent out an email reporting that at around 9 p.m. that night, a female student was approached by a white male with red hair and a beard operating a red Honda Civic, who had offered her money in exchange for sex before driving away. Authorities warned to not walk alone at night and to call 911 if anything suspicious occurs. North Adams City Council recently approved a motion for the city to take control of the Blackinton Cemetery in order to keep up with maintenance. BNN spoke with local historian Paul Marino and City Council candidate Roger Eurbin to learn more about the cemetery's history, as well as how much care the graveyard needs.
North Adams is home to a number of cemeteries, all which require constant maintenance in order to stay in shape. After centuries of wear and tear, many of the gravestones have fallen apart, tumbled over, or have eroded into many pieces. Roger Eurbin and the Hillside Restoration Project have taken it upon themselves to restore in each and every grave at the Hillside Cemetery entirely as volunteers.
Started working at the Hillside Cemetery Project and started the project about 4.5 years ago. And about the first year and a half was just in research and record keeping and getting records set, raising some money so that we could work up there because it is an all-volunteer project. Doesn't cost the city a penny.
Eurbin shared how much time and dedication goes into the maintenance of the cemetery. The group meets multiple times a week, usually from 8:30 until 11:30 in the morning.
We're restoring the stones. We pick them up We mend them if they need mending. Some of them are broken. Some of them are fallen and broken. Some of them actually were buried. We probe the ground whenever we do one particular stone, because there's usually others in the area, and if we think there are others, we probe the ground, and we found, maybe a dozen stones so far that were actually buried. And we bring them up and let them see the light of day.
Though Eurbin himself does not work on the Blackinton Cemetery located off Massachusetts Ave, his team does.
Actually, I don't do the Blackinton Cemetery, but our group does. And it's an offshoot of what we're doing up at Hillside.
Local historian Paul Marino offered some background on Blackinton, sharing some of the cemetery's history.
Blackinton Cemetery started as a village cemetery. Another thing you'll notice in the Blackinton Cemetery is that a lot of the names are Welsh. He brought in a number of immigrants from Wales, and I believe he got them from Wales because they understood woolen textiles, which is what he made.
Now that the city of North Adams has taken over the maintenance of Blackinton Cemetery, Eurbin and his team have one less thing to worry about.
I think it was a good thing in a couple of ways. First of all, there are no new burials up there. It's an older cemetery. It has some historical significance, not like Hillside, but still has some historical significance. There are some interesting people buried there. So I think it was a good thing that Larry Burdick took it over. Larry's the key guy over there.
I also had the chance to talk with Eurbin about his candidacy for city council and what he plans to bring to the table if elected.
United States Navy veteran Roger Eurbin submitted his nomination papers for city council, determined to bring growth to the city in a variety of ways. Speaking with Eurbin, he stressed the importance of job retention through manufacturing.
We need growth not only in the arts, but we need growth in industry. We're never going to become a mill town again. That's out of the question. We could and should look at light industry, light manufacturing, and I hope technology.
Eurbin feels prepared for the city council seat, having made a career in sales and management for the pharmaceutical company American Home Products after his years in the service.
I started off my career in the Navy as an officer, as flight officer, and then a regular shipboard officer. And people say, well, why should that have any bearing on it? Well, I learned a lot about leadership, organization, and training of people, delegation of duties, things of that sort. I also manage budgets. People don't think that the Navy has a budget to work with. Well, each ship and each department does have a budget.
Next episode, former Mayor John Barrett III will be joining us to speak about his candidacy for state rep. And one more candidate has jumped into the race for North Adams mayor at the last moment. Peter Oleskowitz, a North Adams native and truck driver, lived in the area when General Electric and Sprague Electric left the Berkshires. After watching the population decline, Oleskowitz believes he might be able to help the city get back on track with some of the issues he feels are most urgent. His platform includes a more proactive approach to crime, including reviewing the salaries of police, which are among the lowest in the state. Oleskowitz also wants to add a trauma wing to the North Adams campus of the Berkshire Medical Center. The final list of mayoral candidates includes 5 people: Thomas Bernard, Robert Moulton Jr., Rachel Branch, Robert Martell, and Peter Oleskowitz. The contest will be reduced to 2 candidates on September 19th at the preliminary election. The Williamstown Board of Selectmen are in the midst of deciding whether it wants to ask town voters about banning the production and sales of recreational marijuana. In a town where the majority voted in favor of question 4 in the November 2016 election, the only way to pass the ban is by having a ballot vote. If the board decides to go ahead with the vote, there is still the question of when. The vote could be set to take place on either the November 7th special election or in May during the regular town election. While a November decision on the ban would allow more time for warrant articles to be developed in advance of the town meeting, a May decision would allow voters a clearer picture of what a commercial industry would look like in the town. A North Adams man was arrested on Wednesday, August 9th for the distribution of heroin. Police raided 40-year-old Joseph Peeney's home at 7:20 a.m. to find 85 bags of heroin packaged for sale, as well as $915 in Peeney's pocket. Peeney pleaded not guilty that Friday at the Northern Berkshire District Court to a single count of Class A drug possession with intent to distribute. Judge William Rhoda ordered him to be held on $25,000 cash bail. Our final story today is about the protests in Charlottesville, Virginia, and how the protesters and anti-protesters have taken stands across the country, including in Williamstown and Pittsfield. When the Unify the Right rally in Virginia turned into a march where neo-Nazis and KKK members showed their support, anti-protesters took foot to respond to the messages of hate. Less than a day after 32-year-old Heather Heyer was murdered and 24 others injured at the hands of a white supremacist terrorist, some 300 residents circled Field Park in Williamstown to protest white supremacy. The rally was organized by Greylock Together and was one of only 800 known counter-protests. Other protests, rallies, and government call-ins are still being organized all over the country. That is it for this week. You can stay updated with BNN by following us on Twitter and Facebook. If you have any story ideas, email them to bnn.nbctc@gmail.com. With only one episode left, we'll see you in 2 weeks.